Welcome back, learners, to our interesting course based on the theme Rudimentary Principles and Practices of Managerial Economics. I am Dr. Shantanu Saurabh, Assistant Professor, Department of Commerce, DAV PG College, Banaras Hindu University. In the last lecture, we talked about different aspects of pricing, and in this Module 7, lecture number 33, we'll be taking up the topic that is based on the theme of types of pricing policy. So, moving ahead, as you can see on the screen, there are basically 4 types of pricing policy. First is based on the basis of speciality, flexibility, competitive price level, and geographical conditions, which means these are 4 basic or 4 broad types of pricing policy, that is speciality, flexibility, competitive price level, and geographical conditions. So, one by one we will be taking all these 4 aspects and the subdivisions of these topics. So, the first theme is basis of flexibility. You can see on the screen it is divided into 2 components, that is static price policy and discriminating price policy, and flexibility, as you know, is movement of price. So, according to the basis of flexibility, it can be divided into static part as well as discriminating part. So, we will be taking both these components. Basis of flexibility, first we will be taking up static price policy. Static price policy, in this policy the price is kept same for all the customers. It is not changed from customers to customers. The price decided is kept for a longer period of time, as you are able to see on the screen. Whenever the relative production cost increases or decreases, the price is not changed here, which means whenever the production cost increases or decreases, there is no impact on the final price of the specific product, but packaging is changed in smaller or larger capacity as per the situation or as per the demand. The best example you can take up is of uncle chips or other kind of chips. The price, that is 10 rupees, is for a longer duration of time. The quantity has been changing in the chips, but the price has been kept constant. The drawback of this, that if the price is changed, it has psychological effect or impact on the customer, which means, for example, if you are taking off uncle chips or other brand of chips, whenever there is change in the price of the chips, there is psychological impact on the consumer or the customer, whosoever is using it. Which means in static price policy, the price is kept constant, it is not normally changed, but when it is changed, it has an impact on the psyche of the customer or consumer. On the flexibility mode, the second point is discriminating price. In discriminating price policy, different prices are charged from different consumers. In the static price policy, the price was fixed. In this, the different prices are charged from different consumers. The price charge depends on the paying ability of the buyer and seller relation and other factors. The difference being, in discriminating price, different prices are charged as per demand and supply and the market consideration. In static price policy, the price was kept fixed. The merit of discriminating price policy is that seller determines the price according to the competition existing in the market, which means in this the price is determined based on the competition or the cutthroat competition existing in the market. The demerit of discriminating price policy is that when the consumer gets aware of the higher prices being charged, his confidence on that specific product gets affected, which means whenever the customer gets aware that higher price are being charged from that specific person, the confidence of that specific person from that product gets affected, and the next time he or she might be changing that specific product. So, we have taken on the basis of flexibility, we have taken 2 points: static price policy, in which the price was fixed, and in discriminating price policy, different prices were charged from different consumers. Moving ahead, the second point is on the basis of competitive price level. As you are able to see, on the basis of competitive price level, there are 3 distinctions, differences: meeting competition price policy, above competition price policy, and below competition price policy. In this point, we will be taking up the competition factor, and on that basis, we will be trying to figure out the prices. The first one being meeting competition price level. In it, the price are varied equal to the competitive firm of the market, which means whatever changes are being made by the competitive firm, that is being adopted by the other firm. If the competitive firm increases their price, the firms who have adopted this policy will also increase their price, which means the competitor is increasing their price, the firm who have adopted this policy will also be increasing their prices, and vice versa, which means if the competitor is decreasing their price, this firm will also be decreasing their price, which is the basic meaning of meeting competition price policy. The second point, which means below competition price policy. This policy, the firm may lower their prices for respective product or services than the prevailing price. In the starting phase, the firms may enter the market in this phase and gradually in the long run expand their market share in the market, which means here the prices are kept lower. And the third one, above competition level price policy. In this price policy, the firm or the business determines the price comparatively above the competitor price. This stage is adopted by such firms or companies who have good image or reputation in the market, which means you are normally keeping your price above the competitor's price, and this is basically done by those companies who have good image or reputation in the market. They normally spend large amount on advertisement. For organizations which are not so popular, which are not doing very well, it is dangerous for them to adopt this policy, which means you should not be keeping your price above the competitor. So on this slide we discussed 3 points. First was meeting the price according to your competitors in the first point. In the second, you need to keep your prices below your competitor, and in the third one, you need to keep your price above the competitor's price. Next slide, that is based on basis of speciality. As you are able to see on the screen, there are 6 points: bait pricing policy, skimming pricing policy, price line policy, psychological price policy, follow the leader price policy, and penetration price policy. One by one we will be taking all these points. The first one being bait price policy. In this policy, both inferior and superior quality of goods are being produced by the firm, which means both the quality of goods are being produced. First product of inferior quality whose price is comparatively low is shown, and when the consumer gets ready to purchase it, then the product of superior quality is presented and convinced for purchase of the superior quality goods, which means the organization will be producing both kinds of goods. In the initial phase, the customer or the consumer will be introduced to the inferior goods, and when he or she gets ready to purchase that good, the product of the superior quality will also be shown, and the customer or the consumer will be tried to convince to purchase that specific product. The customer in this policy is normally attracted towards better quality products rather than inferior quality products, which the seller sells at high price comparatively. So in this bait pricing policy, the objective of the firm is to sell the product which is of better quality and at comparatively higher prices. The second point being price line policy. In this policy, the price of different products of product line is kept in such a manner that there is difference between the prices. For example, price of different series of markers is of rupees 20, 30, 40, 60 and 80. By adopting such policy, the consumer may select any one of the product according to the spending capacity, and sales of the firm may increase, which means in this price line policy, different product of price lines is kept, and the consumer according to his or her paying capacity can purchase the product which falls in his budget. So as you are able to see, we have taken example, the different series of markers of 20, 30, 40, 60 and 80, and whichsoever is adoptable or suits his income capacity, the consumer may purchase that specific marker. So first we talked about bait pricing policy, and the second we talked about price line policy, in which different products of product line were priced in different prices. The third one being follow the leader price policy. In this price policy is determined by considering the price of the market leader. Whosoever is the market leader in that specific product, the price of that specific firm is being considered, or the big firm, and the other entities adopt or follow such prices. So you consider the price of the market leader accordingly, and you keep the same price of your product. The special feature of this policy is that the price is not focused on the production cost. Here the production cost is not given priority. and related factors are also not given priority, but decided as per price of competitive products, which means the competitive products or the leader's price is directly adopted in this point. The firms don't have control in determining prices, so efforts are being made to reduce cost comparatively to earn more profit for the firm, which means here the cost is not very relevant. The price is determined by the competitors, so whatever price is determined, what you can do to enhance your profit is that you can reduce your cost here. You cannot do anything in the final price. So that was the aspect of follow the leader price policy. The next point being skimming price policy. In this policy, the firms have objectives of attaining maximum profit from the market by selling their new products. This is important. Normally, skimming is adopted for new products at comparatively high prices in the initial phase, which means whenever you are launching any new product, you launch the product at high prices comparatively. They try to earn maximum profit in the initial phase or in the early phase, and then they gradually decrease the prices when the substitute enters. Most probably, as you are aware, in the sector of telephones or mobile phones, when the new phones are launched, the prices are kept comparatively high, but gradually afterwards the prices are reduced as per the demand in the market. Skimming price policy is normally for the new products in the market. For example, as I have discussed of latest phones, initially the prices are comparatively high and then gradually the prices decrease. So in skimming price policy, the prices in the initial phase is kept high for the specific consumers, and gradually the prices are reduced and the profit in the initial phase is more, and gradually it goes to the other part of the consumers. So in this slide we discuss the leader price policy. We adopt the price of the leader, and in skimming price policy, in the initial phase the price is kept high and gradually it is decreased. The next is penetration price policy. This policy is also for the new products. The objectives of the few firm is to enter the competitive market, so they keep the prices of the product or service comparatively low in the initial phase. So there is demand in the market for that specific product or service. It is almost contradiction to the skimming one. In penetration price policy, in the initial phase, the price is kept low, and gradually after the market gets established, the price is increased. And gradually once established, the profitable high price is adopted according to the market. So here in the initial phase, the price was kept comparatively low and gradually the price was increased. The next is psychological price policy. In this price policy is determined in such manner that the consumer may get psychological impact that the price of the good is or service is appropriate. For example, keeping the price of a shirt rupees 999 instead of rupees 1000 is an example of psychological price policy, which means you are considering the psyche of the customer and accordingly you are framing strategy. As the example we have taken, there is no major difference between the price of rupees 1000 and 999, but when you keep the price 999, there is a psyche in the consumer that the price is below 1000 rupees. So this is also an important pricing policy. So in this slide we talked about penetration price policy and psychological price policy. Moving ahead, on the basis of geographical condition. On the basis of geographical conditions, there can be 4 parts: uniform delivery price policy, zonal price policy, base point price policy, and production point price policy. So we will be one by one taking all these 4 aspects. The first one being basis of geographical conditions. In this kind of price policy, same price is kept by the seller of the product for the consumers at different geographical places. For example, if the same product is sold in Varanasi or New Delhi or in Kanyakumari, the price will be constant. There will be no change in the price of the product. It is also termed postage stamp price policy or free on board price policy, because as you are aware, in the sector of postal department the prices are kept constant, so it is also termed as postage stamp price policy or free on board price policy. Example can be of postage department of Government of India. For similar services, the charge is same throughout the nation. For example, if you are doing speed post from New Delhi or Varanasi, the charges will be almost same. So that was the meaning of uniform delivery price policy. The next is zonal delivery price. In this price policy, the market is segmented into different zones and different price is kept for different zone. For example, if the seller consists north zone as one of the zone, so prices at different places of north zone will be same, which means here the segmentation of the market is done and the prices are kept based on the segment or the zone they have decided. For example, we have taken if you are talking of north zone, so different cities in the north zone will be having similar prices. There will be no differentiation in the prices in the different cities of north zone. So in uniform delivery price policy, the price was kept constant at different points or for different consumers. In the other one, the price was changed according to the zone or the segment the company has considered. The next is base point price policy. In this kind of price policy, the price is determined by two-way out. The first being price at the manufacturing center of base point, which means wherever the goods are produced, and the second one, the transportation cost to the place where customer is located. The transport cost is added to the price based on the location of the customer, which means in the first aspect of base point we will be considering the manufacturing cost, and in the second aspect we will be adding the transportation cost from the manufacturing point to the location of the customer. The next point is production point price policy. In this kind of price policy, the goods are delivered to the customer at the place or point of production, and from there on all the movement cost is bear by him, which means the goods are delivered to the customer at the point of production, and from thereafter all the cost is beared by the customer whosoever has specifically purchased that specific product. This policy is also termed as factory mill price policy. So the difference between these two policies is that in the base point the goods are delivered at the base, and after that the transportation cost is added to the point where the customer lives or where the goods have to be delivered. In the second one, the goods are delivered at the point of production, and from there on the consumer or the customer bears all the cost. So that was a brief gist of all the points. So we have almost covered types of different pricing policy, in which I talked about all these four conditions: speciality, geographical conditions, competitive price level, and on the basis of flexibility. I have talked with you about static price policy and discriminating price policy. In static price policy, I told you that the price is kept constant and is not changed from consumer to consumer. On the other hand, in discriminating price policy, the price was changed from consumer to consumer based on their paying capacity or ability. Then we talked about basis of competitive price level. We talked about three aspects: meeting competition price policy, above competition price policy, and below competition price policy. Meeting competition price policy, in which the price was kept as per the competitor's price. Below competitor's price policy, in which the price was kept below the competitor's price, and above competition price policy, in which the price was kept above the competitor's price. In above one, you can only take this policy when your brand is having a good image in the market. And then we talked about basis of speciality, about bait pricing policy, skimming pricing policy, price line policy, psychological price policy, follow the leader price policy, and penetration price policy I discussed with you. In this bait policy, both the quality of goods, inferior and superior, are being produced, and the focus is on selling the product which is of superior quality and at higher prices. In this price line policy, the products are of different price range, and according to the paying capacity, the consumer or the customer may purchase the product. In follow the leader price policy, the price of the leader of the market is considered, and accordingly it is adopted by the specific firm. In skimming price policy, it is basically for new products. In the initial phase, the price is kept higher and gradually it is decreased, as you are aware in the case of mobile phones. Penetration price policy, this is also for new product. In penetration, the price in the initial phase is comparatively low and gradually it is increased in the future. And psychological price policy, which means in this, the psyche of the consumer is considered. The example we have taken is, rather than keeping the price of 1000, we shall be keeping the price 999, because the consumer will feel that the price is below 1000. Then finally, we talked about, on the basis of geographical conditions, uniform delivery price policy, zonal delivery price policy, base point price policy, and production point price policy. Uniform delivery price policy, where the price is kept, where the same price is kept by the seller all over the different places. There is no change in the prices according to the basis of geographical conditions. In the zonal delivery price, there is segmentation of the market, and on the basis of segmentation or zones, there is difference in the prices of the product. In the base point price policy, we have taken that price is at the price at the manufacturing level or at the manufacturing point, and added to it is the transportation cost. In the production point price policy, the goods are handed over at the point of production, and from that point the cost is borne by the consumer or the customer. So that was a brief gist I tried to provide you regarding the price policy and its application. I hope it will be of good use for the academicians, learners, as well as managerial economists. They can adopt this in their organization, and I am pretty sure this will help them to generate good amount of revenue in their organization. Thank you, learners, for patiently listening to this session. Thank you.